Happy summer, and welcome back to another episode of High Minded with McCarter. I'm your host, McCarter.
I'm SK, her co-host. On this episode, we had Lil Pharmer,
aka Michael. He's been a cannabis grower for over 10 years, and I think a caregiver for about that same time as well.
Yeah, he schooled us on some really interesting pollination methods and growing practices, a lot of techniques in this episode.
Yeah, he really shared his knowledge on how he's been able to grow at home and provide for these patients that need reliable flower at a large quantity for not these high prices. So he basically talks about the trade and the relationship that happens between him and his patients being a caregiver for their cannabis plants that they hand over to him, basically. It's a super interesting process, and we learn more about it from him. It was super enlightening, as always.
Yeah, a lot of knowledge shared, and he talks about how he came from the East Coast to Colorado, learned so much about growing, and now he's taking his knowledge and growing practices to the legal markets on the East Coast.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about struggle with alcohol and kind of transitioning from alcohol to cannabis, which we both have experience with.
Absolutely.
And his experience growing up in West Virginia before moving out here to Colorado. So it's a super interesting episode. Thank you, Michael, for joining. It was super enlightening. Check him out on Instagram at Lil Pharmer. That's LIL_PHARMER.
And check us out on Instagram at HighMindedPod.
Also, please give us a review. We would love that.
Yeah, a review, a like, subscription. It really helps. And stay high.
My name's Michael. I started up Little Pharmer about a year ago. I moved to Colorado 4 years, and I've been growing as a caregiver and helping out a handful of people. I was trying to open up my own dispensary and grow operation here, so I collected thousands and thousands of seeds where I could pop out my own proprietary genetics, and then it all kind of fell through and COVID hit. I got knocked off my feet for a year or so I started up the company so I could share my seeds and promote home growing across the states that are legal now for people to grow.
Yeah.
And consult and help people grow their own medicine so they don't have to go to the dispensary.
Nice.
That's so great. We love that. We're such big proponents of growing your own medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. We're both home growers, so.
I'm a proponent of growing all herbs and food, everything for yourself if possible.
Yeah.
Well, how long have you been growing your own cannabis?
Off and on for about 10 years now.
Wow.
Cool.
Okay. How were you first introduced to the plant?
Oh, I was only 16, and a friend was like, hey, come over here. They used to drink a lot, and I didn't drink.
And this was in West Virginia?
Back in West Virginia. And it really slowed my brain down and helped me think and focus a little bit better. I had
cannabis?
ADHD, and it just, wow. All right, is this the way other people think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because my brain went so fast as a kid.
Yeah.
Sure.
And just slowed my brain down and helped me think.
Wow.
And then after that, it helped with sports pains because I played sports. And to this day, 30 years later, I still have pains from playing high school sports.
Yeah.
It definitely helps out with that.
Plant is amazing.
Yeah. Do you make any like salves, or do you mainly just stick with flower and like flower consumption?
I like to infuse my coconut oil, and then with that, you can do a lot of things. You can make bath bombs to make cookies, to putting some in your coffee for breakfast if you want.
Yeah, nice.
It's pretty versatile when you mix it with coconut oil, and then you can infuse it with all kinds of foods.
Yeah. Yeah, that is nice. So how long have you been like a caregiver, and can you kind of explain what that is for people who may not know?
So what a caregiver is somebody who is allowed to grow their own herb, and then they can grab or care for other people with their medical cards, and they can get signed up under their caregivership, and then they can reimburse and help these people pay for growing the cannabis plants, and then they can help consume the cannabis plant.
So in Colorado, it was kind of the first like way to get cannabis before there was like dispensaries, right?
Yeah, so the first dispensaries were actually buying pounds of herb from caregivers that were established in the state because there was no cannabis for them to get. And it takes at least 4 or 5 months to grow your first crop. So the first 6 months to a year, all that herb was coming from existing caregivers.
Okay.
Wow. So did you like personally sell to dispensaries ever?
I did not. I came in after that. Some people I knew did. Some of my strains came from some of these people.
Okay.
So what's different about caregivers too, you'll find different strains on the cannabis market legal because of the metric system. This
sure.
metric system, everything has to be tagged and followed so they can tax it and see where it comes from.
Right,
you know?
from seed to sale.
Seed to sale. But the caregivers don't have to worry about that. So you'll find different strains that have been in Colorado for years.
Yeah.
I know the high country has been famous for 20 years or infamous for growing cannabis, some of the best cannabis in the country. And
Yeah.
a lot of the dispensaries were fed by the mountain weed.
Wow. Cool. I feel like it's easier to kind of like hide growing a little bit like in the mountains.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's always cold and you're growing inside and the heat, it just actually heats your house.
Yeah.
Here you have overheating in the city.
Oh, yeah, it's like,
It's a heat issue and it's infamous there. It's been in the Colorado Rockies, Leadville, Alma,
Yeah.
okay,
South
yeah.
Park area for many years.
Yeah, so you lived up near South Park. How's the cannabis industry or culture kind of different from up there than like here on the Front Range, like Denver, Boulder area?
It's not quite as much competition. A
Yeah.
little more spread out. It's harder to find some of the products you'll find here in Denver because of the distribution and the traveling delivery. You're from here, so you know the snow.
Oh yeah, the snow will get you. Like you have to be really careful in the
Yes.
right vehicle and look at the weather all the time.
So there's a lot of different growers in the mountains on the west side, and it's harder to get some of that herb here in Denver because of distribution too. So you'll have different growers out there, a lot more outdoors, especially in the Southwest.
Yeah. So yours is all indoor?
Of course, I live at 10,500 feet.
oh, wow. Yeah.
So there's 1 month of gardening for
Sure.
tomatoes and outdoor gardening. The
Yeah.
month of July, pretty much.
Wow.
So you worked at a dispensary before. Did you come to Colorado for the cannabis industry?
Yes, I came to Colorado just to immerse myself and to learn as much as possible. I worked at one of the first dispensaries to open in Colorado. It was in
Oh.
Breckenridge called Alpenglow.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, they grew their own cannabis. They were probably the 7th dispensary to open or
Wow.
get the permit when medical started. And they were medical for a few years, and then they went rec. And they grew their own cannabis, had the dispensary and a concentration lab all right there. So I worked with them for about 3 years.
And now time for a quick commercial break.
Say goodbye to late night store runs and hello to convenience delivered with Hemper. We've got you covered with premium smoking supplies that are shipped directly to your door. Remove the hassle and enjoy the best smoking experience with Hemper. Check them out at hemper.co. That's HEMPER.co. You were talking about how the caregiver, like the nature of the caregiver role in today's like cannabis economy is to kind of be a check on quality for these more corporate stores and stuff. And how do you feel like that takes shape?
Well, it's when you have a large corporation, you're looking at quantity because it's all about money.
Yeah, the bottom line.
And if you're growing 10,000 plants at one time, you cannot give them the individual care that they need.
Yeah.
And when you're growing smaller quantities, it is a lot easier to do that. And it keeps, like you said, the big guys in check, gives the smaller people a chance to afford or grow their own cannabis
Yeah.
and make their own choices, you know. Some people are going to like, I call it the gas store weed. You'll get your Marlboro pack or pre-roll, and it'll be cheap. Or you're going to go to a specialty shop and you're going to search out something that's really nice, like some high-end chocolates. You know, people travel the world for nice high-end chocolate. So I see that the future also of cannabis, of people traveling the world, going to Thailand to find that Thai weed they've heard so much about.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Thai stick, bitch. Yeah, how do you how did you find these genetics that we are looking at currently? Is it because obviously it's you're thinking about the medical patient first and foremost and treating, different ailments, and we're all medical patients here of cannabis ourselves. So tell us how you kind of look for right strains or even test them yourself and what you're looking for.
Well, first I started out looking for specific medical uses like pain, insomnia, elevation of what's the term I'm looking for?
Elation.
Mood elevation?
Mood elevation, yeah. Antidepressant, PTSD. I cared for a couple veterans in the past that had PTSD, severe pains, insomnia. And for myself, I need something for pain, something to slow my ADHD down. So I looked for specific strains that were older, that weren't crossed with different strains now. You'll find lots of strains now are triple, quadruple crossed.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to find the older strains that weren't focusing on high THCs, normal THC levels with
full spectrum,
diverse cannabinoid,
yes.
And more terpene. I like the terpenes, so I grow specifically for terpenes because those are what make cannabis strains unique and give you the unique feelings that they do.
Yeah, and these smell amazing.
Wow.
The terps on these are really strong and really
It's so hard to
tasty.
even describe. I'm trying to pull out can you smell this one and tell us what you smell or what the strain is and what terpenes
This
you
one is
smell?
a vanilla wafers, which is available on my website. I have some seeds for sale, and this one came out of a vanilla wafers pack.
Nice. And that's littlepharmer.com, LILPHARMER.com.
Oh my gosh, and this nug is purple, in the leaves. But
this one is vanilla wafers. It has a very strong lime smell.
Yeah.
With a funky undertone.
Funky undertone. I love that.
I was going to call it funky lime, but
Yeah. Oh my God, I totally smell that. Funky lime. That's amazing.
Where did you find your genetics, the original genetics?
all over. Started in Spain. I lived in Spain for about 12 years, and
Oh my
I started
gosh.
growing in Spain. So the vanilla Haze strain actually was a strain I fell in love with in Spain, and nobody in America has ever really heard of it.
Yeah, I can't keep my nose out of it. It's
It's super hazy.
Yeah, SK's just got her face in the
I love
mason
this.
jar.
Yeah, vanilla haze. We actually have it rolled up. So
Oh, yes.
yeah, well,
I want to smell it
yeah,
too.
you can get in here too. This vanilla haze. So
Wow.
this is
Wait, can
from
you
Spain.
can you
It's a
describe
Spanish
this
seed
one?
company.
Okay.
This one has a straight haze smell. If you ever hear anybody say haze, it has a hazy
Totally.
smell. That is your perfect haze smell.
Yeah, it reminds me so much of a ghost train haze that I've smelled in the past.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a little bit less lemon smell. The ghost train usually has a little more lemon to it. This is
Totally.
Yeah, I'm
little
definitely
less
getting
lemon.
some citrus.
So I
If you
focused
can-
on trying to get strains that were not on the metric cannabis market available in
That's really
dispensaries here
smart.
in Colorado already. Most of these strains have come from caregivers
Okay. Oh wow, cool.
that were existing here that I've been longtime friends with that
Yeah.
pulled out their special cuts and hey, here you go.
Wow.
Try one of these.
Wait, so do you have to, in that situation, is it merely just a community thing sharing, or do you pay people at all for
It's a
cut?
sharing thing.
That's so amazing. I love that. It warms my heart.
Yeah. So how is the caregiver culture look like? What does it
Yeah.
feel like? It's not obviously walking into a store and buying a thing with a credit card and
basically
walking out,
just
but-
some home
So
people growing at their house.
Do people
on
come
smaller scales
to your house?
Not really too much. I live way in the mountains, so I don't have too many people out there. It's kind of rough and rugged getting up there sometimes in
okay.
the snow.
Sure.
But right now I have 3 people under my caregivership. 2 of them are my roommates.
Okay, so that works out.
So yeah, they give me a place to grow, help with the electricity, and give me a place to sleep.
Wow.
Nice.
And they get all the cannabis they can
So that's
consume.
like a trade then.
Yeah. So basically you can...
I love a good
Great
trade.
trade. Yeah. Barter.
For me, there's
yes.
no money involved. It used to be more like a business, and people would pay taxes on it. But I treat it more like just as friendship, and
Yeah.
trading, bartering,
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's the way to
help
do
me
it.
get by, helps people who really need to get by.
Yeah.
yeah, wow, that's just what cannabis culture has always been at its roots. And it's so nice that it's still living.
Yeah. What type of feedback do you get from your caregivers, like on certain strains or like?
They love it all. They just say it's better than anything they can get at the dispensary, and it's much more
The quality is like so top
effective
notch.
for them.
Yeah, let's spark up this vanilla haze.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm down.
Absolutely. I do want to talk about like home growing in you giving tips to people, because I know that's like kind of an aspect you do as well, and it's on your Instagram page, so everyone check him out. It's Lil Farmer, LIL_, right?
Correct.
For the Instagram, PHARMER. But would you mind sharing like just any tips or tricks on people, like how to get started, where to get seeds, what genetics to use, like anything?
So one of the first thing is, easiest thing that most people do is over-fertilize their plants.
Okay.
They make it harder than they think it is. They got to add more to it.
It's like you read the bottle and the bottle's like, use 400 tablespoons. And you're like, that seems like it could kill something.
Yeah, sometimes when you're just starting out, I recommend getting a good soil. Like I said, I rep a Detroit nutrient company, water-only living soil. Basically, you just put your seed in and keep it watered, and that's all you do.
Wow.
That would be the easiest way
Does it
for
have
anybody
like
to get started.
worms
Is
in it?
Or
It
is
has
it
worm
like,
castings.
Worm
okay?
castings,
Is there
okay.
mycelium? Is that like living soil? Okay, nice. Cool. We love mycelium.
Everything is in there,
That's so cool.
and it's super easy for beginners to begin.
nice. And that you were talking about with psilocybin, is that the same company that does the psilocybin?
Yes, it is. Detroit
boxes?
Nutrient Company. They do
Cool.
all-in-one spore box or a bag where you just inject the spores, let it sit for 30 days. The mycelium will start to grow.
Wait, I need
And
this.
you break it up, and then 30 days later, you'll start to have your.
That's
mushrooms
amazing.
popping
I need
up.
to order one yesterday.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like 30 days, you say?
That's so
Perfect.
smart.
Catch me
Yeah.
in 31 days, y'all.
Wow. So how
Yeah,
many
cool.
plants are you like growing at a time?
I've had up to 50 under my count. I have 24 personally. I have an extended plant count for pain. My roommate has 24 for his pain. So 48.
Okay.
And then I have a few people here and there. I do have a veteran under my caregivership for 6 more plants. But I don't really have to run 54 all the time.
So what type of
It could be very
yield?
tedious.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially if you're caring for each one, like so specifically.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out then like how much time you're putting in like to each plant. Is that at all like, that's a stupid question. Like,
I haven't calculated it down to each plant, but it's a good 20, 30 hours a week.
Do you sing to your plants?
I play music to them.
Okay, nice. Do they have a preference on like genre?
I like reggae to them. Give them the reggae.
Nice.
Gives
Yeah.
them more vibrations. I think they feel the vibration
Wow.
and the
really-
bass.
nice.
I love that.
That's so cool. What can you tell us about like certain yields of, I guess, different strains? Like, is there one strain you really love but like doesn't have a great yield or something? Or
The cherry lime haze would go right up that alley.
okay.
It smells like lime. It's very nice tasting to the palate. It's not overwhelming. It's a good one for beginners to smoke too because it's not overwhelming, but it doesn't produce very well. And that's one thing breeders do. They try to take those traits of one plant they like and try to mix it with another plant to keep that smell in this
Yeah.
case, but find another plant that will give it more yield, like Northern Lights or something is
Okay.
a very popular strain that people will
Okay.
mix to give another strain more yield, but try to preserve the terpenes.
Interesting. That's super.
So that's what we
very
do as
interesting.
breeders.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw on your Instagram you have a lot of pictures of like pollen and male plants and how to like use the pollen.
Yeah. Is that super difficult?
Yeah, is it
to-
hard? Can I crossbreed a plant?
Yeah.
It's not difficult. You just got to be careful that pollen is very easily spread.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like
Just a
so
little
tiny.
wind, and you don't know it's on your shirt, and next thing you know, you brush up against another tree or plant, and it's pollinated.
Okay. Wow.
So you got to keep
Quick.
them isolated.
Okay. Do you have like a separate room in your house that's like
Yeah,
taped
exactly.
off? Okay, nice.
Whoa.
How many male plants do you keep for pollination?
I've kept 3
Okay.
good ones.
Wow.
You got to be pretty specific on which ones you keep. You don't want to introduce weak traits or traits that you don't desire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to select the right one for specific reasons, and then eliminate the rest of them. One of the biggest things and hardest thing with breeding is finding stable plants, ones that don't hermaphrodite.
Oh,
Okay.
How does that, like a hermaphrodite happen? Or can it just randomly happen?
It could just randomly happen with certain strains, I want to say.
Okay.
Like unstable seeds.
Unstable
Where
strains.
so it produces
certain,
both genitals, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So a good example would be gelato, cookies, headband,
Okay.
sour diesel. All 3 or 4 of those, they hermy frequently, and it's due to stress.
Oh.
Now, you won't do it as much outdoors, but in indoors with heavy, strong light, and it's not a natural lighting schedule.
Yeah. You're
So
stressing them
You're
out.
stressing them out.
So what is can you tell us a little bit about like the light cycles you use and like, so how long from like start to finish?
So in the vegetation lighting schedule, it's 12 and 6, 12 hours on and 6 hours off,
Okay.
which is not natural. You'll never find 12 hours of natural light or 18 hours of natural light, in nature.
Okay, so 18.6.
It's 18.6. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I said that wrong.
No, that's okay.
So 18 and 6, but you'll never find, like I said, natural lighting 18 hours a day anywhere on Earth except for close to the Arctic.
Right.
Okay. Where, probably not
But
growing
that's
a lot
the
of cannabis there.
that's the standard. That's what most indoor growers will do.
Okay. And what does that do for the plant? It just...
But that's only during
It just
veg.
keeps it in vegetation state and won't start flowering or budding.
Okay.
And you can keep it in this state perpetual.
Wow.
Forever.
And it'll just
Yep.
get bigger and bigger.
And that's if you find a strain you like, you can keep a mother plant.
Okay.
That will be your mother plant. You can continually cut clones off of it, keep it pruned up, and it will keep growing perpetually. So if you ever hear
Wow.
anybody saying about mother plants, that's what they're doing. They got one big mother plant. They'll cut 50 clones off of it
Okay.
every 2 weeks, and it just continues growing as long as they want.
Okay, yeah, because I've heard in the past, like when I worked at the dispensary, there were a couple strains that we just weren't getting anymore, and we were like, "Why?" Mother plant died, and it was
Oh.
just like a tragedy.
That's
Like when
so
they
sad.
told us, when the grower told us, he was like devastated,
Tearing up.
Yeah, it was really devastating for all of us.
So yeah, that's one thing that happens with the cannabis metric market here, or the cannabis market in Colorado with the metric system, is every mother plant has to be in the metric system. And then there's a few companies that can sell clones of that mother plant to other grow operations through the state.
Oh wow!
So they
Okay.
can't get any grow operation either has to cut their own clones from existing plants that they have that's in the metric system, or they have to buy clones from a company that has mothers, and that's all they do is cut clones, like Clone Colorado.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so those are the same clones that consumers can buy? Or is-
Sometimes they can get them if the dispensary buys
Okay.
them and then resells them.
Okay.
Like Legal is a good
I was going to say, I
dispensary.
bought clones from Legal before
Yeah.
in
And
Denver.
some of those come from their own operation too.
They have good stuff at Legal.
Yeah, I've gotten a handful of clones there, and always good stuff.
That's so interesting though. What if a company, say like a dispensary has their own grow, but then all of their mother plants die? Like, do they just have to buy all new?
They will have to buy new genetics from a company in the metric market that's legally allowed to sell them. So
So-
they can't actually buy seeds offline and just pop their own seeds and start over fresh with their own strains. So that's where the Caregiver system comes in, because I'm preserving some of that green crack and that purple headband
Yeah.
that you can't get on the dispensary shelves nowadays.
So there's like a seed bank that is kind of among
But it's like
the
finite.
caregivers.
So then how does like new strains get in?
There's
Is
a
that-
loophole somewhere. There's new strains coming out, but I
Right.
haven't figured it out. It's
So there's some type of like illicit activity.
there's some
Somewhere
people
in
are
there.
just either fudging the numbers or the name, or there is a loophole somehow where a company can grow cannabis for another company. For example, Willie's Reserve.
Okay.
Yeah, they like use someone's cultivation
Yeah,
license.
They use different cultivators around the state who have existing license and have been growing, and they just come in and say, "Hey, can you grow this one for me, and I'll sell it under my name,
Okay.
Interesting.
and this is the strain I want."
How can we get like older genetics back into the market.
Yeah, back into like the rotation.
Yeah.
That's where the new states are coming in, and it's just going to be a state-to-state thing. And hopefully if it goes national, there maybe will be a national metric market.
A national seed bank.
Or a metric
kinda
system
cool.
which tracks everything. I'm sure they're going to track it somehow.
And like allows for these breeders to kind of come in as a
So
part of the
Colorado,
system.
as being one of the first states to legalize, they made it very strict in the
Yeah.
beginning and made their laws more lenient since then, in my opinion. And one of the first thing is nobody can leave the state with cannabis bought in Colorado. All the cannabis has to be bought or grown in Colorado, but nobody can bring cannabis into Colorado either.
right, because it's tax fraud at that point.
Once you cross state lines, it becomes a national
Oh,
thing,
okay,
and
right.
it's out of Colorado state
Yeah.
control.
Oh,
That's like
okay.
interstate commerce.
Interstate commerce. Okay.
So nothing can actually legally come into the state or leave the state, including the new strains.
So do you have a caregiver license?
Yes, I do. You have to sign up for those.
Is that difficult to obtain?
No, not really. You just have to go through the formalities online.
Okay. And does it cost money to like apply?
No.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
as soon as you get your medical card, you sign up as your own cultivator.
I know. I remember seeing the options.
Yeah, totally. I didn't realize
But
it
it's
was...
a different login. You have to log into the marijuana registry, and then it's a separate login for the caregivership.
I just had like a random question. What if you are like a caregiver, say in your situation? Well, maybe you have some knowledge about this because you almost went through it, but like you are a caregiver successfully, but then you want to turn into a cultivation. Okay, so you can't bring any of your own genetics.
No, unfortunately,
That's
you
so
can't.
messed up.
Yeah, that's...
I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't know. I'm just like,
But in other states, it's different. That's just a Colorado thing at the
Okay.
moment, and
Yeah.
every state's going to be different as they open up.
okay.
It's time for that law to change.
Wow. Yeah. I'm just
There, I
like,
said
that
it.
makes no sense. Like, what's the incentive then for someone to, I don't know.
Well, to
Want
be
to
able
get-
to legally
Yeah.
make...
Right. To make money.
like a home.
Wait, so can
Right.
you not like technically make money as a caregiver? Like, or
It's changing constantly. Like I said, I don't try to. I just
Okay.
barter to get by and have a free place to grow my cannabis.
right. It's more of like you do it trading and out
Exactly. But people
sharing.
before
The love of the
treated
plant.
it more
Yeah.
like a business. They had to pay taxes on it.
So do you have to pay taxes on?
I don't make any money off of it, so I don't have to.
Oh,
pay
okay.
taxes
So you
on
don't
it.
have to like report anything.
Nice.
Okay. Interesting. I'm just like still trying to understand like if someone wanted to be a caregiver, like how they would start doing it.
You got to find people that need your care.
Okay. So how
And
did
they
you?
have your med card. I knew this guy that I live with now. I've known him for 20 years.
Okay.
We worked together 20 years ago. I've been in Colorado off and on for probably 12 years,
Okay.
starting in 2000.
Wow.
And I worked with him at a ski resort many years ago, 8 years ago. And when I came back, he was complaining about the prices and wanted to have better herb, and wanted to grow. And I said, hey, that's what I want to do. Do you mind, want to hook up something and grow our own cannabis? And he said, well, sure, let's do it. One thing you do have to be careful with in Colorado, that not all counties are the same.
Yeah, I know Boulder County is only lets you have like 6 plants actually.
Even if you're allowed by the state to have 24,
Yes.
the county only allows you to grow 6.
I looked into this a couple of years ago when I first got my medical card because I wanted to grow plants, and I was like, this is so weird that like that it's the 2 different laws, and it's like,
I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah,
Well-
some places in Colorado Springs you can't grow your own at all.
oh
wow.
my gosh. So does that include male plants? Is that male and female plants? Oh.
Check your laws.
I thought that was only for female plants. But we're good. We're good. I got 6 plants. We are right in line with the laws there.
Nice. I do have a question about lights. So I have this big light, like one of the big rectangles with like the two bulbs, and I don't know the actual like voltage, but
Probably T5 fluorescents.
Okay, yeah,
So yeah,
they're definitely fluorescent. If I have 6
Yeah.
plants, is that gonna kill them off, or is that
That's good for veg state to get them
Okay.
started before you put them outdoors. You
Okay.
could do a whole cycle with flower, but it just wouldn't give it enough juice to make them bud out a whole lot.
okay with a light that big, like
With
that strong?
Well, it's actually probably not strong enough.
Okay.
Oh, so
Wow.
well, I
The
was going to
fluorescents.
ask,
Fluorescents are
what's the
good
difference
for
between fluorescent and LEDs?
unless it's a LED
Okay, I think I'm pretty
fixture,
sure
it
it's
could be.
fluorescent.
The old school LEDs just don't have enough power.
The old school
They're not-
fluorescents.
yeah, they're good for babies and
Interesting.
seedlings and vegetation state. Once
Okay.
you go to flowering, you want to bump up the wattage and get you some good LEDs.
Okay, so it's just a much brighter.
Yeah, it just helps them to get that chlorophyll production up and to get denser buds and to help the terpenes.
Okay.
Terpenes and the THC crystals and
Yeah.
the cannabinoid crystals are kind of a defense for the sunlight. It's like a
Oh.
sunscreen.
So the more sun you put on
more
them,
light and brightness sometimes can help you get more
get those
trichome.
trichomes. Okay.
Wait, I've never heard that.
Me neither.
Can
That's
you
cool.
explain that more, or is that all there is to it?
That's basically what I've heard of it. It's just the trichomes are protecting the plant
From burning up?
UVs.
Cool.
Whoa.
And sometimes if you stress them out, which is a trick, which can be playing with fire because you might make them hermy, but some of the tricks to make your cannabis more flavorful and increase terpenes are to stress them.
Okay, so like make it colder,
Or
more
hotter,
hotter. Okay.
brighter light. Colder is one of the main techniques.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that with the purple, especially.
Yes, I've heard that like you're supposed to make it cold like right before you put the like lights back on or something. I don't know.
So the last 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
of flower, people will lower the temperatures in their room by
Last
10
2
degrees.
weeks. Okay.
Okay.
At least the last week, but everybody's a little different.
Okay, perfect. And 18.6.
18.6,
For
and then
that
when you're ready
period.
to flower, you switch it to a 12 and 12.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
I've heard
12
that.
on, 12
Shoot,
off.
I need to do that.
And do you use any specific nutrients? We've heard like carbon-based nutrients are nice.
I am constantly changing, trying new stuff.
Okay.
I do a little bit of product testing for different companies.
Okay,
I found
cool.
some I like a little bit better than others, some I won't touch anymore. I like powdered nutrients better than salty nutrients personally. Living soils.
Yeah. Living soil.
Yeah, the microbes just help. There's no heavy metals in the herb. That's one thing I always get compliments about. The cannabis is smooth, doesn't make people cough.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's one thing you'll find in commercial cannabis is heavy metals
Yeah.
that you have to flush out of the cannabis. If you don't,
Yeah.
you'll have heavier weighing buds because you got little metals in there.
Oh my
my
gosh.
gosh.
So a lot of growers don't like to flush it because
my
they want
God.
heavier buds, and
is
little
scaring
micro
me.
metals
Gross.
still they make your bud way more.
Wow.
And
that-
then you're like consuming that.
And you're
coughing your
smoking it,
brains
which
out.
it's not good for your lungs.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
that is
So
nasty.
flushing your cannabis is
Heavy
very
metals,
important.
people.
And they do tests for those here, so there is a threshold
Right.
that you have to.
Yeah. Do you have to do any testing with yours?
I don't personally.
Have you ever tested it?
I have tested for THC on 1 or 2, but I don't really
Right.
trust the numbers.
Okay. Okay.
Testing is something that you could give your same sample to 3 different companies and they could test it all differently.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't check out.
No, my testing is just sharing with people like yourselves and getting good feedback. And
Yeah. That's probably the best
it helped my
test you can
shoulders
get.
and it helped with the stress. It helped with my migraines gone.
Yeah, totally. All right. So, you have been in Colorado for a long time, growing, working in the industry, working out of the industry, educating as much as possible. Your next venture, you're moving to the East Coast. What do you have next in store for us?
Well, I'm going to go back and help consult a little bit, spread my genetics around. I've also started talking with a good friend, Ernest, who runs Bipocan.
Bipocan.
Yes, and it is a social equity representation group, which is based here in Denver.
Nice.
Cool.
And within the next 6 years, I don't know if you've heard this, but all of the next or all the licenses in the next 6 years are all going to be social equity licenses.
Okay, yeah. I have heard that. That's exciting.
Yeah, I know.
I really like this.
Like New York is also doing a similar program with like all their licenses. Even to apply, you have to have like a main like social equity component.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he is based here in Denver, and he has opened up a shop or an office in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, cool.
So I'll talk to him, and I'm going to go out and be a little bit of an ambassador for him and see if I can get some people signed up. It's a really nice company here that promotes advocacy, recruitment, and education. And the business network benefits include listing in our vendor and supplier directory of minority-owned businesses that offer products and services to support Virginia's cannabis industry.
Very cool.
Okay, nice.
I like that people are making these like communities and registries of like that other people can find of like, this is who you should be working with.
Right.
You know?
Here's like a credible network
Exactly.
for you. Just ready.
And it's connected with lawyers to help get all the questions you have, because there's
a lot of
ever-changing.
regulations.
That's going to be one of the most
Oh my
difficult.
God, yeah.
Connections with the other thing, like the Last Prisoner Project,
Yeah.
Yes.
and getting expungements for prisoners or people that have been arrested in the past,
Right.
Yeah.
and
Got
help
it.
those people get into the cannabis business also.
Yeah, anything that is like trying to help like with the war on drugs, I think is just like the most important thing that this industry should be doing, because like we're literally building it on the backs of people who have been, you know, like criminalized because of this plant, and it's awful. Like we need to get everyone out of prison, first of all, who's in there for cannabis charges. Like I can't believe it's still even a thing that like we have to be talking about, but it's so needed. And I would definitely love to get what was his name?
Ernest Torrey.
Ernest. Yeah, would love to connect with him and get him on the podcast.
Yeah, totally. It's really great that there's this network for all these states that are about to come into it and empower people that have been on the sidelines for so long.
Well,
Wow,
where
nice.
do you see the future of the cannabis industry going? Is something we always like to ask our guests. And it can be related to anything, like federal, state, just
I'm
caregivers.
hoping that the Senate will pass and make it take it off the Class 1 scheduled narcotics list. That's the main thing that needs to happen in the United States. And
Yeah,
then
time,
every
yeah.
state can open up and do as they please. And I hope to keep the home grower caregivership alive, to make sure that big business doesn't come in and degrade the quality,
Yep, I
of
think that's
cannabis
so
and
important.
keeps the diversity open to everyone, gives them a choice to grow at home, grow their own medicine, make them self-sufficient, and makes it a little cheaper for them in the long run.
Yeah, totally.
Because if you're really a cannabis user for medicinal purposes, like I am, you will not be able to afford buying cannabis from a dispensary.
Right.
It would be just like buying pharmaceuticals now that people can't keep up, and you'll need insurance to pay for your medicine.
Yeah, especially as the taxes get higher and higher. Like,
Yeah, so California, they're having some serious issues because, I mean, the taxes are like at 30, I think, some percent.
Yeah.
And so many residents, people there, are continually going to the legacy market because,
It leaves it open for the black market still.
yeah.
And when it was legalized here in Colorado too, there was 50% tax rate, and it was too expensive, and the black market was still flourishing. Mm-hmm. And once the tax rate went down, where the price was between $100 and $300 an ounce to the consumer, the black market shut down
yeah.
because it wasn't profitable for them, or it just wasn't worth the time and the electricity and and the troubles.
Yeah. It's like once it's accessible to the legal market, it's,
And there's a
but
there's a range there that if the price is too expensive, the black market's still going to flourish.
Yeah, but then it just makes me sad, though, like talking about the heavy metals, you know, that like
Well,
that
Totally.
stuff like that is going unchecked.
Well, some of that too, if it's black market herb that I used to get 30 years ago was more contaminated with heavy metals, molds, and pesticides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And smoking that destroyed my lungs when I was 22.
That's what I think really destroyed my lungs too.
Yeah, smoking bad cannabis can be really bad for your lungs and can destroy them. They can make them burn, and you'll just have chronic bronchitis. Or
Oh my gosh.
susceptible to pneumonia.
That's why I started doing a lot of the low temperature dabbing, because like the combustion all the time was like irritating my throat so much.
Yeah, I don't like the dab, especially little electronic ribs. They really dry my throat out and burn them a lot. So I like the herb through a bong. Helps to damper the
Yeah. A
The
little
heat.
water filtration.
Yeah, smoking can be hard on your lungs if you have the wrong cannabis.
Yeah, definitely. It's the quality of the bud is first and foremost.
Most people still think that you got to hold it in until you cough, and that's not the way to smoke herb. That's just going to actually can lead to bad problems with your muscles and contractions and coughing. And
Oh, really?
Wow. That's
I've seen
that's
people
scary.
get hernia from coughing so hard.
Oh, I've seen
Oh
that. Yeah,
my.
it's really it can happen. Yeah, smoke good weed and don't cough as much for sure.
Okay, it's taking me forever to do this cone, but I finally did it. We do have one final question.
Yeah, one last question that we ask everyone. If you could smoke weed with anybody from history, dead or alive, or not family, who would it be?
I've thought about this before, but it's a very difficult question.
It can be,
Yeah.
you can say you're a couple people too.
Yeah, I like that. Like your ideal
So I
circle.
would say dead. I would probably say Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
Good one. We
Yeah.
haven't heard that before.
Alive, I would probably say Willie.
Nice.
I'm sure he's competent and can have a good conversation.
Yeah.
He's getting old.
Yeah,
It's like the time is now.
interesting guy. I've been around. Just has a lot of good things to say. Always, never negative.
Yeah, totally.
Amazing. Well, do you have anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Amazing. Well, thanks again, Michael.
Well, thanks for having me.
Lil Pharmer.
Yeah, where can we find you?
Yes.
You can find me online at www.lilpharmer.com, which is LILPHARMER. I do have a YouTube channel also where I have a couple products that I've did a little tutorial for, like the tree box here, tree lock box. And then
cool.
I do have Instagram, little_farmer.
Nice. And we'll
And
have you linked in everything.
Trying to do a tutorial coming up. Got a friend who wants to do some videos. He's bringing his camera out, and we're going to do a video or two and
Nice.
hopefully get a tutorial video series going on YouTube for those who want to
Hell
start
yeah.
and don't have the money to buy all the big products and all the fancy
That's so
stuff.
important.
And
Yeah.
just give you the basics, what you need, know
Yeah.
what you need to know just to
Mm-hmm.
get your own medicine.
Start as soon as possible.
Yep. Get your
Exactly.
medicine on your own budget.
I love that.
Yay. Thank you again. And
welcome.
as always, stay
Stay high.
high.